Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I'm going to spice up the video a little today. Destroying deflation and destroying technical analysis, which I do for football, but I show its problems. And when you watch these guys on, do a chart, Jamie Oliver does a chart and look what's happening. You can't use this as predicting the future. So we got gold 33.68. It fell to 33.51 when China finished, and then got up for Europe and got up to 33 cents. So we're in the 33s. No worries. Looking at $5,000 gold. Again, this is all manipulated, which we understand, so we don't worry about it. We would like to see it higher, but it'll get there. Silver's back down into the 36s, which is, it's never been to the 36s before, so that's a pretty good thing that it's now 36.33. We did get the 37. And the misleading thing there is when we saw 37, we thought, oh, now here comes 40 and here comes 50. But apparently 37's been moved up to 38 or 39 or who knows. And as they put in more, options, then obviously 37 needs 38, needs 39. But we will see. So it's moving, but it's just a lot of options, a lot of price fixing that goes on in COMEX. It's just pure bullshit. But it's not real, and we know that. We take advantage of it, and we can't look at it. Oh, the price is 36.33. There's why buy silver? Well, we know it's not real, and that's the thing that I behoove you to do, is to understand that it's not real. Once you understand this is bullshit pricing, and the price is 10 times higher, then you get it. But right now, gold's 33.68, and you think that's where it's at, and it's much, much higher than that. All right, let me take some pictures. Daria. All right, so let's look at baseball yesterday. We'll start with sports. All right. The Dow is closed today. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's closed for June 19th or whatever. Yeah, so somehow it's at 42,171, which makes no sense. It's all bullshit, but that's where it is. So it's closed for this June 19th, but COMEX is open. I don't know why COMEX would be open and the market would be closed. I don't know why the market would be closed for June 19th. What the fuck is June 19th? Unbelievable. All right. So let's look at baseball yesterday. I think I had a pretty good day. The Yankees went under. I know that. Atlanta won with Chris Sale. That was our big 3-star lock. All right, we start Boston, Seattle. I think it started early. Philly over Miami. We have Philly. They win. Detroit under 7.5 was postponed. They play a doubleheader today. Colorado 3, Washington 1. Colorado. Why do I keep going over in these Colorado Washington games? California 3, the Yankees 2. We have under 9.5 for 2 units. That's a winner. We have Toronto. They win 8-1. We have Cincinnati 4-2. Oh, we played it over 9. Damn. Thought we played it under. We have the Atlanta beating the Mets. They win 5-0. That was our big 3-unit play. Baltimore over 9, 12-8. That wins. We have St. Louis, which I don't know where that went. That one got postponed. The Cubs got postponed. Texas under 8. They win 6-3. Chris Bubik, 6-4, the 2-1-2, gives up 3 runs. And Patrick Corbin, 3-9-1, gives up 6. So we lose that one. The Niners under 8, we win. Houston, they win 11-4, and San Diego loses 4-3 to the Dodgers. So St. Louis got postponed, the Cubbies got postponed, the Tigers got postponed. So 3 postponements. So in our bets, Philly 2 units win, Detroit didn't play. The Yankees 2 units win, Cincinnati over 9 loses, Atlanta 3 units win, and Texas under 8 loses. So we go 1, 2, 3, and 2, and so we win 7 units and lose 4. So very good day there. Hitting the lock, Atlanta, Chris Sale. So again, it doesn't matter what the juice was because we won it. So even though you paid $220 to win the 100, you won the 100. That's all we're looking at. We don't care about the $220 because you get that money back when you win. So we get to 619. So what are we learning? We're learning trends here do matter. The Yankees have not scored, and they played another under. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Hello?
Hello, this is Hannah, and you asked me to call you back. Do you remember?
Nope. What kind of way is that to answer the phone? You asked me to call you back. Who are I going to remember that to ask to call back? Unbelievable. All right. Anyway, so the trends, we see the Yankees not scoring. We see Chris Sale pitching well. We see Chris Bubik on Kansas City is not real. So when you bet on Chris Bubik, 6-4 to 2-1-2, 2-1-2s for 9 innings. You're expecting no more than 1 run in this game against a weak hitting Texas team, and they lose and they win 6-3. So not only are they getting sick, but the Texas guy has a 3.91 ERA. So you're not expecting more than 3 or 4 runs. Again, the ERA is based on 9 innings, and Chris Bubik again gives up. I don't know what his ERA where they're getting 2-1-2, but he doesn't pitch 2-1-2. He gave up, I think, 3 runs in 4 or 5 innings. That's like a 6 ERA. Colorado, Washington is not hitting. Philly beats Miami. Boston and Seattle are playing. I thought I took Boston. Garrett Crochet, but it might have been on tour. Oh, no, I did play Boston. Yes, Boston's a winner. That was the first game. Okay, we hit Crochet. So you start looking at trends, which is going to get to blend into my technical analysis. We notice the trends change, right? Right now the Yankees aren't hitting, they're not scoring. Okay. But then when they start hitting, or like Colorado is winning. That trend's changing. So if you did a technical analysis in Colorado, you just bet against them. But now we're noticing the trend changing. Now they're starting to win. This is my point with trying to do a technical analysis on stocks or gold or anything you're trying to do. You cannot just blindly do a technical analysis and go, well, this is that. So if it did this, it does that, it's going to do this. You can't do that. As I show you in football, you have to do a new technical analysis every time there's a new quarterback and a new coach. There's things that change the variables. And so when they're trying to do a technical analysis on gold, you can't just do it because you've got brics, which is not in the technical analysis before, which is now in it. They're all buying gold. So how can you look at what happened in 2008 and possibly do a technical analysis? All right, let me get more into that later. But that's where I'm headed with it. And you can see, because I do sports and try to analyze it, you just see you can't do it. 619. All right. 1240. It's 1140 now. So it's an hour. Minnesota goes against the Reds. Now, this has been a low. Where are we? Yeah, this has not been a lot of runs. It had a big game, and then yesterday wasn't a big game. So technical analysis that. Minnesota 105, 9.5. Chris Paddock 2-6 with the 4.30 against Nick Martinez 4-7 with the 3.92. So I really don't understand Minnesota being favored here. Cincinnati with the better ERA. Paddock's 2-6 with the 4.30. Why would you bet him? Since he can hit, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. I'm not going to bet it, but I'm going to take Cincinnati. Just because they're the dog and they are, both pitchers kind of suck. So I'm expecting runs, but I'm afraid to go over 9.5 in this. Colorado, Washington. Colorado's got 17 wins. They had 9 wins for a long time. They're getting hot. How do you trend that, right? So if you're going to do a trend, you got Colorado doing this. Now all of a sudden they beat Miami, and then they lose a little, and now they're beating Washington. It depends on who you play. You can't just blindly trend it. You have to look, well, against Miami, against Washington. That's why I do in teasers, I look at Detroit against the Bears or Detroit against the Vikings because you have history there. And I throw out Detroit against all the other teams, and I focus on Detroit, Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago, because that's the focus. That's who they're playing, and they play each other twice a year. So they know each other very, very well. And that's the problem with technical analysis. If you're not, okay, so how are they doing with brics? It's a whole new environment. You don't know. You can't chart it, and it's price fixed. Anyway, so Colorado, Washington. Washington's 169.5. Chase Dollander, 2-7 with the 6.57 for. I don't know how Colorado wins any games. Trevor Williams, 3-8 with the 5.71. So this is why I keep betting it over. And they keep playing unders because the pitching on Colorado, everybody's a 6.7 ERA. Trevor Williams, 3-8 with the 5.71. Washington, 169.5. That it's just I don't see Washington 3-8 with the 5.71. I'm not scared of him. So I actually like Colorado here, but it's hard to bet a pitcher with the 7 ERA. So if I go over, but they're not scoring, this is like yesterday, over 9.5. I guess we'll try it again, but I hate to do that. I'm just going to take Colorado and screw it. They're hot. I'll just keep going with them. I'll keep playing black till red hits. California and the Yankees. Tyler Anderson 2-4 with the 4.44. Carlos Rodon 8-5 with the 3.01. Why is this 10? So the Yankees under 10, and this will be 2 units. They're not going to hit Rodon. The Yankees can't hit. I don't know if they're pitching around Judge or not, but the Yankees don't give you two or three hitters. Is it Goldschmidt and you got Goldschmidt and you got Judge, and that's basically it. Volpe, he's still like in the 240s. Most of them are in the 240s. They're not using. I would bat Goldsmith right behind Judge and protect him, and you'd have to pitch to Judge, or you're going to walk him to get the Goldsmith. That's what Mantle and Maris did in the 61. It was Mickey third and Maris fourth, or the other way around. I know they batted right next to each other, and Maris got all these fat pitches to hit. That's why he hit 61 home runs one time. But that's how you do it, right? Not batting one first and one fourth, and then nobody behind him, and they walk him, or they pitch very carefully, and he strikes out. Pitt at Detroit. Now notice this game was rained out yesterday. Andrew Haney 3-5 with a 3.33 against Tarek Skubal 7-2 with a 1.99. We played Detroit under yesterday, and we will play Detroit under today. Same bet, under 7.2 units. But if you notice in the second game, it's Skeins going, and you wonder why Pittsburgh wouldn't put Skubal against Skeins and then let this Haney go against whoever the heck Detroit's going to put out there. Are you wasting the effort? I don't know. He could beat Skubal, but what are you saying? So I'll let Skubal win, and then we'll win with Skeins, and we'll break even, versus having some balls and saying, yeah, let's put Skeins against Skubal, and if we beat him, and then we're, yeah, that's what I would do. I'd have some balls and put Skeins against Skubal, and not save him for the second game of a doubleheader. And I love how they rained the game out at 2 in the afternoon. It's sunny out. Now, did it rain? We did get some rain last night, but I'm in a different city, and I went to my daughter's softball once. It was 5 miles from the house, and we get to the field, and it's pouring, absolutely pouring for a half hour. Okay, they rain it out. We drive home. There wasn't any rain at all. The driveway was dry. The grass was dry. It never rained where I lived, 5 miles away from the ballpark. So I don't know how you postpone a game when you have no idea where the rain's going to hit. It's just stupid. So now you got this stupid day-night doubleheader, and you tire your players out. I don't see any value. Oh, we need our ticket money. Oh, bullshit. These owners are just so fucking stupid. Just let the doubleheader go. Let the people go to the doubleheader, and off you go. It's just stupid. We need money. Yeah, you get a lot more money if you allow the doubleheader. Well, they've already bought the tickets, so let them both come. I mean, it's just stupid. The Cards at the White Sox. The Cards 145-9. Eric Fetty 3-6 with the 3.65. Sean Burke 3-7 with the 4.71. What I would do for the Tigers, I would say you can come because people are working, right? So it was a 7:00 game last night. Are they going to be able to come at 1:30? This game's at 1:10. Are you going to get all the people at 1:10? She used to say, are you going to get all the tickets? Are you going to get a full house for 1:10? Probably not. So you should let anybody in with tickets. Okay, let's say you take the tickets from yesterday. If you have tickets to the second game, it's now part of a doubleheader. We'll apply it to another game. Any game you want to go to, use those tickets, or we'll refund you those. I mean, this is just stupidity. Cardinals at White Sox. Cardinals 145-9. Eric Fetty 3-6, 3.65. Sean Burke 3-7. It's like me with Teaser King, except for this idiot on the radio who doesn't know what he's talking about. Basically, I do make negotiations. So if I charge $100 for the weekend, and you go, oh, I only have 75, I will negotiate it to 75. Unless I feel you're taking advantage of me, which I've had several people do that. They claim poor, or they say they're going to do things and then they don't. It really pisses me off. But basically, I will help you. Or let's say you bought the week, you didn't know to get the password, you didn't get the password, you say, I never got the password. Okay, here's next week's password. And now, so you've gotten services rendered. It's not that hard to do. Anyway, cards at the White Sox. Cards 145.9. Fetty 3-6, 3-6-5. Sean Burke 3-7 with the 4.71. This was postponed yesterday. I got to go Fetty here. I'm going to go St. Louis. Milwaukee and the Cubs. This was postponed yesterday. I wonder if these are all doubleheaders today. The Cubbies 138.5. Peralta 6-4, 2.60. Talon, who I really like, 7-3, 3.48. I think this got moved. Now they're pitching Peralta because I had the Cubs yesterday. Now I'm going to go under Cubs under 8.5, and we'll go 2 units on this. Peralta looked good against the Tigers, or Talon looked really good against the Tigers and Peralta. So you're starting to realize the Tigers, when they play better competition, just like the Lions, don't show up. The hitting really is that they are stealing signs, which maybe the Cubs knew and didn't allow it. But this AJ Hance, he's a cheat and he's a liar. So you can't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. So if he says, oh, we're not stealing signs, you can't trust him. That's the problem with liars. And that's the problem with cheat. He cheats, right? He steals signs. So he's already proven that he's done that. Then he lies that, oh, I didn't know about it. Bullshit. You're in charge of the Tigers. You know everything that's going on. Don't tell me you don't. So if the Tigers are now stealing signs, he's behind it. And you can't trust him because he's a cheat and a liar. So I think that's why the Tigers are doing well. They are stealing signs. There's a lot of hits that make no sense. There's a lot of batters who are 200 career average, like JV Baez and Torkelson is hitting home runs now. Clearly, he knows the pitch is coming because this guy is a 200 hitter at best. So they're stealing the signs. That's why these marginal 220 hitters in minor leagues are hitting 270. And I think people are getting aware of it and faking the signs. And then they play a good pitcher, like when they played Italian for the Cubs, he kind of knew what was going on. So you can't trust this Hance, which is why you shouldn't have hired him in the first place. Oh, look how good he is. He's not good. He's cheating. It's Jim Harbaugh for the Tigers. All right. Prove it. Yeah. Javi Baez is hitting 280. I proved it. KC, Texas. Texas 125, 8.5. Michael Wakaka, 3-6 with the 3.38. Sean Armstrong, 2-1. I'm going under here. KC under 8.5. Arizona, Toronto. Toronto minus 140, 8.5. Ryan Nelson, 3-2 with the 4.14. Kevin Gausman, 5-5 with the 4.08. We're going to go over here. 2 good hitting teams and 2 bad pitchers. Cleveland and the 49ers. The 49ers 175, 7.5. Gavin Williams, 5-3, 3.89. Logan Webb, 6-5 with the 2.58. We'll go under 7.5. Let me see what Dari is saying. All right, that's about Daria's daughter who's sick and is in the hospital. So I just wanted to respond. Um, so Cleveland Frisco, we went under 7.5 yesterday. We're under 8-1, so that's good. Pitt Detroit, Skane's going. I don't know who against. We're gonna go Pitt under in this game with Skanes. He'll shut out Detroit. We'll go 2 units on that one. So we bet Schoolball under 7 and then Pitt under 7 in the nightcap. I imagine Skanes is going tonight. That's why Pitt's a 135 favorite. St. Louis and the White Sox game 2. St. Louis minus 170-9. Michael McGreevy 1-3 with the 309. Mike Vassell 3-2 with a 199. We'll go under in the White Sox game 2. Under 9, number 2, but I won't bet it. Philly and Miami. This is even. Miami won the first game. Philly got him back. I still didn't see Bryce Harper in the lineup, and Ranger Suarez is pitching like he can pitch now. So we got another good ace to go after. Philly 145, 7.5. Christopher Sanchez 5-2 with the 305. Edward Cabrera 2-2 with the 410. Sanchez. Yeah, we'll go Philly again. We'll go 2 units. They're just so much better. Miami. I mean, Miami lost to Colorado. It's terrible. I got to ask Darius something. All right. So we took Philly over Miami. We have the Mets in Atlanta. We have Atlanta minus 138.5. We got Clay Holmes for the Mets, 7-3 with the 287. Spencer Strider, 1-5 with the 435. We're going to take the Mets here. And we're going to go under 8.5. No, we'll just take the Mets. Baltimore and Tampa. We've got Tampa 135, 8.5. Charlie Morton, who stinks, 3-7 with the 605. Drew Rasmussen, 6-4 with the 255. We're going Tampa Bay here. We'll go 2 units. Houston, Oakland. We hit the over yesterday. It was we just took Houston and they beat them 13-2. And let's see. Houston 130 and 10.5. Colton Gordon 2-1 with the 470 against Jacob Lopez 1-4 with the 480. We'll go over in this one. Houston over 10.5. No bet. And then San Diego, LA. LA's won the first couple of games in the series. They beat Dylan Cease. The Dodgers huge favorite, 250-9. Ryan Burgett 1-0 with a 233. Yoshima, Mr. Fuji 6-5 with a 264. We're just gonna go under. Oh, fuck the game. Why are the Dodgers 250 favorite? Their guys 6-5 with a 264. The other guy's got a 230. So we're going Dodgers under 9. We're not gonna bet it. So here's our plays: Cincinnati, Colorado, the Yankees under 10, 2 units. Detroit under 7, game 1, 2 units. St. Louis, the Cubs under 8.5, 2 units. KC under 8.5. Toronto over 8.5. The 49ers under 7.5. Pitt under 7, 2 units. The White Sox under 9 in game 2. Philly, 2 units. The Mets, Tampa Bay, 2 units. Houston over 10.5 against Oakland. And the Dodgers under 9 with a good low ERA pitcher. So the bets, the Yankees under 10, 2 units. Detroit with Skubal, 2 units, under 7. Cubbies under 8.5, 2 units. Pitt with Skanes in game 2, 2 units. Philly, 2 units. Tampa Bay, 2 units. And that shows you where you're looking at the pitcher. The pitcher makes the bet. So in Skubal going in game one, you bet on him. Skane's going in game two, you bet on you. Well, we're going unders with him because he doesn't get any hitting. Now, if Skubal was facing Skanes and the over under was 7, I'd bet 10 units on the under because the Tigers aren't going to hit Skanes and Pittsburgh can't hit anyway. They couldn't hit me. So you would have a 1-0 game, right? Like they did with the Yankees a week or two ago. So, yeah, you got to be careful. The Tigers are, again, stealing signs, and it's really a shame that the game's not fair and not real. And, you can't say they're stealing signs. Yeah, I can because he did it at Houston, and he's obviously doing it now because the hitters are not that good. And they're all hitting everybody's hitting 270, makes no fucking sense on this team with most of the hitters are minor leaguers. So yeah, knowing this manager, he's absolutely stealing signs. And, it's a shame because you want a real game. You don't want, now I don't care if they really steal signs because that's what you're supposed to do. If I'm at second base and my guy's batting and I see a curveball, I'm going to cross my legs or lift my arm and say it's a curveball coming. But that's part of the game. I mean, that's nothing new. It's not like Harbaugh at Michigan where he cheated stealing the signs. That's different, right? You more look at formations than steal signs. So I get that. I mean, they should be smart enough to understand if they got 3 tight ends, what they're going to run, or 3 wide receivers to one side, it's a wide receiver screen. I mean, that should be known. But this is the problem of hiring a cheater and a liar as your manager. You just don't know what's real because he's been known to lie and cheat. He did it at Houston and he won a World Series, and now he's doing it again. And I'm sure the Tigers are fine with it because they're so bad that they're going, yeah, go ahead and cheat. He probably started doing it late last year when they won 30 games. They had all the signals. And he probably said, what the fuck? We're losing anyway. We're in last place. And now he's doing it again. So, yeah, you get what you pay for. Michigan won a national title, stealing signs. And here's the Tigers are doing the same thing. So it's how many teams are stealing the signs? Probably most of them. Nothing makes sense when you got, Javi Baez hitting 280, and he's not striking out on that curveball as much because he knows it's coming and he lays off of it. Although I did see him swing and miss on one the other day, which I was happy to see. But yeah, you got to be careful. But where isn't there sign stealing or something like that? So anyway, be careful with that. Basketball tonight. Now we have, from what I understand, Halliburton didn't play the second half. And they only lost by 11, getting 9.5. So we won our bet on OKC. I didn't know Halliburton didn't play. I watched a little of the game, but I didn't pay attention. I really don't know who Halliburton is. He's a game time decision, which doesn't mean anything to me. Carlisle expects Halliburton to be a game time decision. He'll go. He can't play, obviously. He's got a hurt calf or whatever, so he's not going to play. We got OKC 6.5, 221.5. Well, without Halliburton, you can't really go over, although that was the game that went over. Went to 229 last game. I love Indy. Big Ted Star, Indy getting 6.5 at home as a home dog in a must-win game. OKC knows they can lose and still be there for Game 7. It's not like they try harder. It's game that they have to go to Indy where it's tough. Now, if Halliburton didn't play and they only beat them by 11 at home in a game they had to win, Game 5, they had to win that game. I just don't. I see Indy just playing very emotional the first half without Halliburton. There was a game I remember in 1980 where a guy named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hurt his foot and didn't play in a game 6 at Philly. And a guy named Magic Johnson scored 50 points and all these rebounds and assists. They couldn't guard him because he actually played center, and he was too mobile for what was it, Dawkins, Charles Dawkins? No, Chocolate Thunder, but I don't know his name. I think it was Daryl Dawkins. That's what it was, and he couldn't handle them. So without Kareem, they win by 30 points. So sometimes the other players step up when the guy's out. So in this situation, this is must win for Indy. This is not must win for OKC. They can easily lose this game and get them game 7 at home. It's in the back of their minds. We can afford to lose. There's a big difference in the mindset for Indy, who has to win, and OKC, who doesn't have to win. That's the thought and theory of the bets that we do, and we're very successful at it. And we're getting 6.5. This is a joke. They should be favored in the game. So Indy getting 6.5 in a must-win game, and OKC doesn't need the game. Bet a bigger bet on Indy getting 6.5 here. All right. I wonder if my chat's working. It wasn't at first. Then I went out and came back in, and now it looks like it's working. So if anybody's there, just chat me a chat, and we'll see. All right. The Bus family unloading the Lakers for $10 billion marks the end of an era. Wonder why they're selling it. Hopefully they're buying gold with the $10 billion if they're smart enough. Probably too much LeBron crap going on. So I guess the Dodgers are buying the Lakers, which doesn't make any sense to me. Magic is an owner on the Dodgers, so maybe Magic's behind it, but $10 billion sale makes price of other franchises look like challenge. So I guess the Celtics sold for $6 billion. So is that what these people are doing? These people are buying these teams. They don't try. They come in last place. They don't spend money, and then they sell the franchise. I'm not sure how you get $10 billion for the Lakers. They stink, but we will see. Anyway, that's that. All right, so let's talk. I'm seeing a lot of bullshit on us or Keynesian economics, talking about deflation and these guys doing trend analysis. First of all, deflation does not exist. If prices are going down, that's the market. That's the prices. I talk about it all the time. If this goes down to $20, if nobody will buy this because they don't have any money and they can't afford it, does not mean it's deflation. There is no such thing as deflation. What does that mean? Well, we know inflation's inflating the money supply. So deflation would be decreasing the money supply. Really? I mean, I don't get that. Why is that an issue? Why? Well, you're not deflating the money supply. So what? You're deflating, raises the value of the money, so this goes down. Well, that's bullshit. That's impossible to happen. So deflation, you're talking about something that doesn't exist. It's prices going down. So if interest rates go up and the dollar goes down, and you want to sell your house, but now the interest rates are 10%, you have to lower the value to get back to so your house is worth 500 grand. You put it up for 500, but you're paying 2% interest on a 30-year fixed, and now all of a sudden the 30-year fixed 10%. So you've got to lower the value because it's the value of the house plus the loan, the interest on the loan that you've got to cover. Well, that's made. So if you do 500,000 at 2%, now it's at 10. Now it's 700,000 for the house. Well, nobody can afford it. So the value of the house drops. That's not deflation. It's caused because of the inflation raising the interest rate, but that's not deflation. There really is no such thing. It really, my The only thing I could find in my class about deflation was the banks trying to get their money back when everything's crashing. Um, so there is no the value of the dollar is not going up, right? That can't happen because it's not backed by anything. Once you print it, it's printed. It doesn't go up. There is no the price of the dollar goes up. So that's not real. Um, and the dollar is being heavily inflated, but they don't know how to count it. They look at prices, which we know is wrong. So if your house is worth 500 grand and now, but you can't sell it, and so the value of the house goes down. Well, I got news for you. When the dollar goes out, the value of your house would be zero. Is that deflation? No, that's because it's priced in dollars. The house was never worth. It was worth. The house is worth 500,000 in monopoly money. So it should never. So what is the value of it in gold? We have no idea, right? You can say, well, gold's 3,400, and therefore divided by that, it's worth 20 ounces of gold or whatever. Well, but that's not real because this isn't real. So we don't really know what this value is. And so when the dollar goes out, your house goes to zero in this, as does Bitcoin, as does your car, as does everything, your paycheck, your bank, anything valued in this goes to zero because this doesn't exist anymore. Nobody wants it. And when nobody wants it, it has no value. I can't sell this if nobody wants it, right? Oh, anybody want Canadian Club 12-year? Nope. Okay. The value's zero. Now, maybe I get a buyer later, but right now, if nobody wants it, the buyer's zero. I'm not selling that, but I'm just saying. So your house, so what is deflation? I mean, it's the value dropping, but it's not real. It's because, there's several reasons. One is nobody's got money for it. There's no demand. I mean, there's a lot of different things that cause the price of something to go down, right? My Van Gogh right here. Now it's a poster, but it's it's worth three euros. But let's say it was real and it was $100,000. If it went down to 80, is that deflation? No, it's there's no buyers out there. Nobody has money to buy it. That's just free market economics, which says there's a supply and there's a demand. And if there's no demand, you can't sell anything. So if I'm trying to sell Stardust poker or casino chip and there's no buyer, this is worth, well, it's worth maybe $1, but Stardust is blown up. So this has no value if there's no buyer. It doesn't mean the value went down. There's a difference between something is worth less for certain, like a car, because of the wear goes down in value. It's not deflation, it's wear and tear on your car. So your new Mercedes you paid 100 grand for now has 250,000 miles and is 10 years old, is obviously not worth 100,000. That is not deflation. That's the wear and tear of the car making it worth less because I'm not going to pay 100 grand for a car with 200,000 miles on it. Then it goes down in value, but it doesn't. That's not deflation. There is no such thing as deflation. And when you hear it, the problem is on YouTube, these guys, they're all Keynesians. So as soon as you hear they're Keynesians, I just click off. I make them negative and I click off because they don't know what they're talking about because Keynesian's wrong. It's just not, it's not correct. It's been proven wrong. It's not a good thing to look at. So therefore, when I hear Keynesians, I just give them a negative. I don't want to hear Keynesians. It's bullshit. So keep that in mind. That's why we're looking for Austrian or classical economists like me. I tell you in a different way but I'm giving you what actually works, not the bullshit they give you, velocity, which who the fuck knows what that is, and deflation, who the hell knows what that is. It's just a made up word. It means price is going down, but look who's doing it, Jim Rickards, who's a Keynesian. Price is going down. I mean, Your car's worth less, so that's deflation. No, it's the market saying there's not enough buyers, or the buyers don't have enough money to pay, so they're going to pay cheaper. Um, it's really nothing to do. I mean, what do you think deflation is? That the value of your house went down. What do you think that is? Well, it's a lot of things. Is there demand? Is there what's going on in the world? Is there massive inflation making interest rates high? So now I gotta, if I buy it for 5, I gotta pay 800,000 with the interest rates. So at what point is it just because there's not enough buyers? It's too expensive. I'm over market. As we talk about the market, right? We talk about the ribs and $30. And I says, if he goes to 45, there's no buyers there. It's got to be 30. But let's say there's no buyers at 30 now, and then he's got to lower it to 25. Is that deflation? Not at all. People cannot spend $30 on ribs. They don't have the $30 because the inflation is hurting their dollars. It takes more money to go to the grocery store, your rent, your utilities, the food, the clothes, everything's more expensive. So I have less money. I don't have a Dollar Tree in my backyard, so I have less money. Therefore, I'm going to order the chicken. The chicken's $14 and your ribs are 30. I'm not going to get the ribs. Plus, how healthy are they in the first place? So that's what happens. You just don't have the same amount of money due to the inflation. So let's get to the real root. The inflation's making my money lose value, and therefore things cost more because my dollar's not worth anything. And then the luxuries like a steak or ribs just aren't worth anything. If I want to buy a house, it's too expensive. I don't have the money to buy it. I can't afford a $2,000 or $3,000 a month payment on my $500,000 house because I got to now pay 10% in interest. But I can't afford $2,500. Oh, so I can afford a $350,000 house. So the house that was 500, you've got to include the interest rate on it. So is that deflation? No, it's the house plus the interest rate gets me back down. So the interest rate's forcing your price down because I'm paying in total $2,500 a month. And I got to add that 10% for the interest rate on to the value of the house. So I can't give you 500, I can give you 350 and the 10% versus 500 and 2%. I can't do that. So is that deflation? No, there's no such thing. There is no such thing as deflation. Costs go down for many reasons, but it's not because the money being printed has gotten stronger. So if the money is printed to death and it has no value and it takes more dollars to buy something, we know that's inflation. So hence deflation would be, oh, well, they've printed less dollars and it's gone up in value. So now it doesn't cost. So theoretically, that's what gold's going to do. Your $500,000 house with your 10% interest rate goes away. The house goes down and gets revalued in a gold-backed currency. You don't need 500,000 monopoly money. You don't need this to buy the house if you're using gold. But the value of the house in monopoly money at 500,000 switches to gold. And now how much gold with I have no risk because it's gold, and I probably don't have an interest rate. Do I need? Oh, it's worth let's call it 35,000 now for the $500,000 house in monopoly money is now 30,000 in gold-backed currency. Is that deflation? Not at all. It's just you recalibrated the dollar for the gold. And now in gold terms, it's still 500,000 monopoly money. It's 30,000 gold money because gold's worth so much more than the dollar. Right now, we're saying a dollar is worth in gold is 3,400. So that's where we're at. So if you got a $340,000 house, it's worth was that $10,000 in gold, right? At 3,400. So that's how it's going to work. Is that deflation? No, it's just a repricing from fake money to real money. And the real money has much higher value than the fake money does. So no such thing as deflation. So when these guys start talking, what they're really saying is the prices are going down, but they don't understand is why. It's because of inflation that the dollar's worth less and therefore it takes more dollars to buy it. But then nobody has money to buy certain things. I can't buy golf clubs because I got to eat and I got to pay rent. So my golf clubs, there's no demand for them, so the price goes down. The price works by supply and demand. If there's no demand for a price, it has to fall because okay, so I want to get $100 for Canadian Club, but nobody has it. So what do? I either hold it, or if I got to sell it, I got to lower the price, right? Okay, well, can I get 80 for it? 60 for it. Is that deflation when I lower the price because there's no demand because people can't afford it? Fuck no. That's just silly talk. That's not. So they'll try to explain that your values are going down. They're not. It's the dollar being inflated has less and less value. And but what they're missing is when you come out with the gold backed currency, then all of a sudden the value of the house is totally different. And it still should be supply and demand. So, will you give me an ounce of gold for my house? Oh, yeah, I'll give you two. I'll give you three. Okay, three's good. And that's what it ends. And now your house is worth 3 ounces of gold. And the value of the gold in a free market, not this bullshit COMEX derivative market, is probably $50,000 an ounce. So 3 ounces, you give me 150,000 for my house in gold versus the 500,000 that you're saying in the other. And that's the whole point of it. So it's not that simple to say your price of your house is going down, so let's call it deflation, because deflation's a made up word. It's not, oh, we're printing less dollars, so the value of the dollar got stronger, and therefore the price is going down because as the dollar was printed, the price of the house went up because it took more dollars to buy it. So what are you saying? The price is going down because it takes less dollars to buy it? That makes no sense because you can't do that. Once you've printed the money's printed. So it's out there. You printed $150 trillion. You're not all of a sudden oh wait, we burned 50 trillion of it. Look, the value has gone up. No, it doesn't work that way. Once you ruin the dollar, you ruin it. Believe me, Rome would have tried to save it also. They did a little bit, I think, in 1 or 200 AD. One of the emperors went to Turkey and went back on the gold standard, and he survived for a couple hundred years more. And then I don't know if he went off the gold standard or not, but usually when they're at their last stand, they go to the gold standard and they survive a little bit longer. But usually the damage is done with all the money printing. So the money printing destroys the dollar. That's the inflation. I don't know about this hidden tax thing. I don't know that it's a tax. I mean, really, what is a tax? So I'm not sure. You print this to death, it's a tax. It's really just reducing the value of your dollar. And I don't know that that's what a tax is. A tax to me is I got to pay, if I have dinner and it's $50 and here in Michigan it's 6% sales tax, I owe $3 in tax. Well, wait a minute. How does that play into the dollar didn't go down in value? I just owe more. I owe a tax to the state for eating, for spending $50. That's not making the dollar worth less. So I really don't quite follow inflation as a tax. I don't buy that at all. Tax is something that when you buy something, you pay. But the dollar being worth less is because you printed it and overprinted it, and nobody wants it, and it has no value. And that's what we're running into now. Nobody wants the US dollar. Everybody in BRICS, you see Trump running around, go, oh, wait, don't go away from the dollar. Well, it's the market dictating. They don't want dollars. They don't want your corruption. They don't want your bullying, and they don't want your sanctions, and they don't want your tariffs. So you're creating this mess. Now, are you that stupid, or are you doing this on purpose? This is hard to understand why you would do it on purpose when the whole key to everything is free trade. And you want to trade with people because you want their goods and services, and they want your goods and services. So the last thing you want to do is not have free trade where people can't buy your goods and service and you can't buy their goods and service, because you can't make everything. We cannot make champagne in the US. It must be France. And there's certain things in China, and there's certain things in India, and there's certain things in Africa. All these minerals in the ground that they want from China. I thought we had some here, but okay, let's say we don't. Well, we want them. And now you're tariffing them? Well, we're not going to tariff them. Well, that won't be tariff. I mean, it's so stupid. Just you want free trade because you need things from other countries and they need things from you. So you free trade it. I saw where Xi from China is now saying don't buy chips from Intel or advanced micro devices or whatever. That the guy from Bitcoin is going to cry because he's MicroStrategies or something, and they won't buy his chips. Well, then he's fucked. He ain't going to sell them here. So it doesn't really matter. China's money is worthless also. The difference is China's got 60,000 tons of gold and we have zero. And that's where this whole game is not being understood. He who has the gold wins because you can't print or inflate the gold. Therefore, it won't lose its value, versus all these dollars have lost their value, right? So do you call this deflation because the value of this has gone to nothing? No, it's what inflation is. You printed it, making it worthless. It's very simple. So why are they coming up with this term deflation that doesn't even exist? It's certainly not defined by prices coming down. That's the market. That's your dollar's worthless. I mean, really, it's just you need more money, more dollars to buy something. That's the inflation end. But if you can't afford it because you need the dollars to eat, then it's just the market saying, I'm not going to pay you $100 for Canadian Club. I'll pay you 50. Is that deflation because the market, because the price of the Canadian Club went down? Not at all. That's the market. I can't sell it for 100. I'll sell it for 50. That's your house. Where do you get the value of the house in the first place? Where do you get that the house is worth 500,000? Just an arbitrary number. That is, somebody bid that in an auction. When you put your house on the market, there's an auction, right? There's all these people come in and you do an open house. That's an auction. And you look at it and somebody says, I'll buy it. That's an auction. And so how did you get the $500,000 value in the first place? On an auction. And now nobody's going to bid 500,000 because of the interest rate. They'll bid 300,000. Did your house go down in value? No, not at all. You had an auction where you got 5, but now the auction, you can only get 3. And that's it. And that's why you'll happily take gold. As I tell Luke, you'll be buying a house with 2-3 ounces of gold because they'll happily take real money over this paper shit. So every dollar in the world is heavily inflated, including China, Russia, and Africa, except for Zimbabwe and Venezuela and Brazil and Argentina. All their money's worthless. However, they don't understand it because they're Keynesians. This is why Keynesians are idiots, because they go to this theories that don't work. You can't print the money to death and have nothing happen. As Jim Reichert would say, oh, well, you can just keep printing the money because we're the reserve currency and it doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. You can't print like that. It will go to zero, you idiot. I hate when, like, watching Andy Scheckman and he throws names around. Oh, Jim Reichert, Bill Holder said this, Joe Blow said that, Joe Bob OW said this and that. And you're like, I don't bring up names. I bring up names to diffuse them, but I don't say, hey, I will show you what Egon said, but I will show you what he means. I will explain what Egon's doing, not use him as a reference. Like, well, if Egon said it, then it must happen. Or Mark McGuire, well, yeah, he's saying the Russians saying silver will hit $75 an ounce. I bring it up as a narrative because I don't know. I can't talk to the Russian diplomats, but I don't throw their names around like, well, he said it. So Andy Scheckman, I won't listen to him again. He's on a short, and I just delete him. He's not worth listening. He doesn't explain. He has phony titles, and then he never talks about his titles. And then he just rambles on about nothing. So I can't listen to him. But I hate people. We've thrown people's names around like, well, if Bill Holder said this, then do I ever use Bill Holder? Hell no. Guy's an idiot. Again, a lot of these Keynesians, they don't know what they're talking about, or a lot of these guys are stockbrokers or bankers who have no idea about economics. Alistair McLeod is probably the biggest fraud. He does not understand Austrian economics at all. He's a banker, I guess, and he comes up with these terms that people really don't understand and tries to, it's not money going, it's money going down, not gold going up. You sound like an idiot because it is gold going up. It hasn't. So why isn't silver going up? If we follow your logic and the money's going down, then silver should be more expensive also. Why just gold? And then they talk ratios of 90 to 1 or 100 to 1, which are totally meaningless. They're not correlated at all. I mean, it just happened to be 10 to 1 or 15 to 1. There's no correlation. Gold's worth what it's worth. Silver's worth what it is based on the markets, based on supply demand. If you get to a free market, which we don't have. Right now, brics are buying gold, so gold's up, but brics aren't buying silver. Or if they are, silver's gone. I mean, there is no silver left. So this will be very interesting in 2 weeks, July 1st, what's really happening when they have to deliver the silver. So I thought we saw it at 36. I thought we were going to, when it hit 37, I thought here goes 40. So I don't know why it went down at 37, but it's sitting in the 36 is okay. And as we know, there's always a few days of down during the week. So of the 5 days, Monday might be a good day, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, one's a good day, one's a bad day. But if we have 2 bad days in a row, then Thursday will be a big day. Is today Thursday or today's Wednesday? No, today's Thursday. So look for Friday to be a huge day then. If it's going down, because it's not going down for any reason. It's just show so they can say gold's down $40, and it's not down at all. It's COMEX's options that are down. The physical price of gold never goes down because nobody is selling it. Nobody in their right mind is selling it, right? Yeah, there's a few ounces at my guy's store, and that's it. Otherwise, nobody's selling it. So anyway, keep that in mind. I gave my friend the silver yesterday, so I gave her 2.5 ounces. It was $100. It was perfect. Anyway, so that's deflation. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Prices go up and down based on demand. Bananas go up or demand, or if they get too much supply, they put things on sale. If they can't move it, then Oreo cookies are buy one, get one free because they can't sell it at the higher price. Is that deflation? No, it's the market saying, fuck you, I'm not paying $6 for a bag of Oreos. And so they go buy one, get one free so they can sell 2 of them. And so, but one will be 6. The second is 3 is 9. So you're paying $4.50 a bag. But now you're getting all these cookies that you're gonna die from. Coke does that with their 2 liters. I'll buy one, get 1.5 off. Or I saw my dark chocolates; they're up to $4.79, but buy one, get one free. It's just ridiculous. So that is not deflation. It's the market saying I'm not paying that much, and that's everything is the market. That's it, pure and simple. If you print too much, the market doesn't want it. If you inflate the money, now I need more dollars to buy chocolate chips. That's because you've made the dollar worthless, which is what's happening. That's why gold should be much higher and silver should be $500 an ounce by now. Oh no, we're going to do these derivatives and see, look, gold, silver's 36. Oh, I don't want silver. It doesn't move. People are so stupid. They don't understand what the mechanism is. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about are these stupid charts. So I watched some guy, oh, he's talking silver's going to go. And you watch, and he's looking at a chart. Oh, look, the chart has a triple triangle and da 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 da. Guy's a fucking idiot. I can't watch. These guys are so stupid. You cannot chart something that's price fixed. I can't chart the NFL when I got Caleb in his first year, and now I got a new coach in Chicago, and I got, what else? Tennessee, a new coach, a new quarterback. New England, I got a new coach. The Jets, I got a new coach. I cannot chart that because I don't know what he is and the data. If he's a good coach, if he's George Allen, if he's Vince Lombardi, yeah, I can go. And Lombardi went to the Redskins. They probably covered every week. But you couldn't use the chart the last 5 years on the Redskins until Lombardi got there. And I'm sure the chart on the Packers from 1960 to 1967 was 900% bet on the Packers. But then when he left, could you use the same stats in 1968 on the Packers because now he left? No, you couldn't. So that's really what you had. Why you can't use charts. So I can't do a technical analysis based on, well, if the chart does this, it's going to keep running, or if the chart starts going down, you can't do that. It doesn't exist because the variables have changed. As simple as that. And you must understand what you're charting. You are now, just like I throw a new coach into the Bears or into the Jets, I throw brics into this little chart you're looking at. Since 2005 or 2000, you can see charts. 2008, you see what happened. It's all bullshit. You've got brics now. You've got a new variable entered the equation. You cannot look at what happened in 2008 and use it to do what's going to happen now. And they try to, you cannot predict the future with technical analysis if variables have changed. I could do it with Mahomes because Reed Mahomes been there for 5 years. So I can look at the last 3 years of Kansas City or Cincinnati with Joe Burrow and get what I think could happen. I could look at maybe Miami with Tagliavoa. It's got to be a coach and a quarterback there's consistency. That's it. Maybe Philadelphia, you got Hurts in there, Sonori or whatever. But anytime you get these new quarterbacks, I can't use Penix yet. He's only been there 3 games. Daniels, I got 1 year, but I can't go back 3 years on Washington. I can only go back 1 year. The Giants, you got Russell Wilson. You can't do anything. Pittsburgh, you had Russell Wilson. You can't do anything. Now I got Aaron Rodgers. Great, but I can't do anything with him. And you just go, Fields is on the Jets. You just assume they're going to lose every game. As you go through it, you realize all these coaching changes the variable. So I can't use a technical analysis. Oh, look at what happened in the last 5 years. That's what's going to happen now. No, because the variables have changed. The coach has changed. All this data is with the old coach. When we're looking at gold and silver, all the data is before brics. Now that brics is coming on saying, hey, we got 44 countries buying the shit out of gold. Well, where's that trend? So maybe you can go back the last 2 years since 2023 and you can maybe now start doing gold, but all you got to do is know it's going to go up. The second thing is it's price fixed. So it's not even free market. In football, it's free market. They play the game and this is what happens. And you think the games are honest. Although, as I mentioned with the Tigers, they're not. They're again, sign stealing. But in this case here, this isn't free market. These are derivatives and options. So this is paper gold, not physical. So you've got to separate them, but you don't have a physical gold price. You have nowhere where you can say, oh, well, the physical price is 10,000 and the paper price is 3. But that's what it is. The 3,400 is the paper price of gold. It's got to do with the buying, but it's basically the options that you're using. And they're who know they're not free market. It's up to J.P. Morgan, and they're still shorting gold. So how stupid they are. Now I don't know how much money they make. Granted, I assume they make money, or they wouldn't do it. But they're incredibly stupid. Instead, what they should be doing is buying gold. If I was J.P. Morgan, I would be buying the gold physical bars and letting the price run up, and the price will run to 10 grand, and I'll make a hell of a lot more money. Um, you make a hell of a lot more money than you would at doing these options, I would imagine, because you got to deliver the options, and that's the key. So I don't. Just a second. That was Elena. She's home. Her daughter's in the hospital, and I made it look like she got a room for her. I go, why would you be in the hospital? Are they keeping you there? And she said, no, I'm home. I said, okay, good. So because you have all these, because it's price fixed, how can you possibly trend it? You have no idea what they're going to buy and sell as they got a short, as they now have to cover. So now it's based on, well, we're shorting the gold with options, which are 96% paper, 4% physical gold. So we're going to short it. Oh, when it gets low, we're going to buy it. Oh, when it gets high, we're going to sell it. How the hell can you chart that? You can't chart something that isn't free market. It's just make believe. It's all bullshit by J.P. Morgan, who should be in jail for this, and Goldman Sachs. And yet they run the government, and they're the ones who will do the bailouts, and they'll bail out themselves as they did in 2008. So until we get a free market, which should be July 1st, they'll have to cover when people ask for delivery. So there's two sides of the option. There's selling, somebody's buying. And when the buyer says, but I want physical gold and silver, when I buy your options, they have to give it to them, and they have to cover. And when they have to cover, it's going to be at a much higher price, which is not going to be available. There's no silver. They can't cover 1,000 tons of silver that's on these contracts. They don't have that. They're not going to find it. It's not in the market. China is buying the doré from the mines because there's no silver available. They're going right to the mine saying, "Hey, give us what you pull out of the ground. We'll make it into silver bars." That's what China's smart enough to do that. So China has a lot of silver, as does Russia. They've been buying, and India and Saudi. They've been buying it up, and the U.S. is sitting there with the thumbs up their ass, making money on paper, gold, and silver. And I hate to break it to them, but oh yeah, you're using paper that isn't worth anything. And this is where they can't think third dimensionally at all, which is what we do. We actually think fifth dimensionally. So what I do is just know anything in paper is worthless. Your house, that's where the Titanic comes from. So the boat's sinking, and you got to get off the boat into the lifeboat. Well, if this is sinking, anything in dollars sinks. Bitcoin, what do you think Bitcoin's going to be worth? Zero. Your house will be worth zero. because it's priced in this. But as soon as you switch it out into a gold backed currency or physical gold, then their value comes back. Oh, my house is 500,000 in monopoly money. Oh, wait, but in gold, it's $50,000. And let's say it's 10 to 1, although we know it's probably 5,000 in gold because you're pricing in a monopoly money. So let's say it's $10,000 for my house in gold backed currency. Now gold's worth $50,000 an ounce because we don't price in dollars anymore. There's going to be a time we don't price it in dollars. We price gold in gold, right? So it'll be whatever gold will buy. And again, money is what it can buy. What can you purchase is what money is. It's how you determine the value. If I can buy this house, it's a nice house, 500,000, and I can use gold for it. That's the value of the gold. Oh, 1 ounce buys me this nice house. That's what the value of the gold is. And that's where it's headed to because none of the dollars work. You go to CBDCs, it won't be worth anything because if well, what's the value of a CBDC? First, it's digital, so it's not real. Secondly, well, we're backing it by this. This isn't worth anything. So the CBDCs are absolutely worthless. Hopefully, it doesn't come to that because nobody wants to be, and I'd highly advise against anything digital. You can use the internet digital, but to say digital money is worth something, you got to be out of your mind. I don't trust Bitcoin. I won't trust CBDCs. I want the real money, and there'll always be real money because the mafia needs it to buy and sell their drugs. They don't want it to be a source, so they do it in dollars. And then nobody knows, and they can stay under the radar and not pay taxes and run the government. So that's what you have. So you cannot analytically look at a chart and and try to figure out a future price if it's price fixed. If there's if it's changed, there's a new coach, there's a new quarterback. Tennessee, how are you going to chart them? Well, now we got Cam Ward, who's not very good. How do we chart them? Well, they got a new coach, and okay, you need at least 10, 12 games this year to figure out how you chart Tennessee. Are they a good dog? Are they good at home? You have no idea. I don't know that he'll be any better than Bryce Young, who stinks. All of a sudden, people think he's good because he threw a few touchdowns late. He still stinks. He's at Alabama. I never saw anything in him. So that's what you got to realize is you got to get uh, all your variables. And when variables change, the data that you were using, you can't use now. So as the data from 2000 to 2008, can I use it? No, because it's changed. Brics came in. And then, so why would I look at it? It's not going to help me. I mean, you can go back to 1945 if you want, but everything's changed. It won't help you. So this is where that, and then I like when this Ray Daddio guy starts charting, countries and their things like he thinks he knows what he's talking about. It's very simple. When they start inflating their money and go to war, their money's worthless. They go out because they can't afford it. When you have a big government, you can't afford it. That's why you got to have a small government because you got to pay all the employees and you can't afford them because they don't generate revenue. So therefore the employees, the money needed, where's it coming from? Well, we'll print dollars. Well, there goes, you ruin your currency. That's one reason they don't like a gold backed currency. The other reason is they like to print and put it in their pockets. The JP Morgans and the bankers and the politicians, they put it in their pocket without realizing that it becomes worthless. So this is the problem. So you cannot use technical analysis on things that are price fixed, that are not real, that are not free market, and the variables change. So as BRICS is now buying, as we're now going on Basel III, you got to throw all that shit out. So if Jamie Oliver's saying, "Oh, look at the chart. The chart's going up. It's a triple teacup," and all that bullshit. It's all meaningless. You cannot use it at all. It's a waste of time. It's like me trying to chart the Chicago Bears with the new coach and Caleb. I can see Caleb sucks, but I don't know what the new coach, or the Jets with the new coach and a new quarterback. How can I chart it? Well, look what happened in 2008 with the Jets. That's with a whole new coach and a whole new quarterback. I can't use any of that. I can only go from the data I have with this coach and that quarterback. Who are the key variables? God, I keep getting these strange scam calls. Shit. Well, I pretty much covered most everything. Let's see. I'm probably losing you. Hopefully I'm back on. Let me see if somebody can just give me you're okay so I can continue. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stop because I can't continue if I'm not live. Let's see. Okay. I'm still on. I made it. So anyway, I'm sorry I paused for a second. The internet. I could see because I started freezing and then that. So you always have to understand what's going on. You have to understand what inflation is. It's printing the money. It is not prices. When people say, well, the prices year over year is 2% or 3%, you have to realize that I can see my connection's a little slow. You have to realize that's not the accurate way to measure inflation. You can't look at, well, Coke last year was $2.99, this year's $3.50, and somehow they want to say inflation's 2%. What are you looking at? What is 2%? Well, prices of what? I mean, what things where the price hasn't gone up and you're using 15 items where, are you using cauliflower? I mean, what are you looking at to come up with 2 or 3%? But they'll say it and people believe it. Oh, well, if the Powell says 2%, then he must be telling the truth, which is just bullshit. He's not telling the truth. I know I'm freezing, but so far we'll see. So, but that's not how you measure inflation. It's inflating the money supply, which is why I talk about it, not the inflation. It is not prices. It's the money is worth less, so it takes more dollars to buy goods and service. So what are they trying to do? Measure, well, how much more money does it take to buy a can of soup? Can't possibly say 2 or 3% when it's 10,000%, because you can't go year over year. You got to go since 1971 to today when we got off the gold standard. That's we've been printing the money. So the value of the money from 1971 until the value of the money today is about 50,000, not two, not year over year. The whole thing is a joke. And you just can't listen to it. So I roll my eyes when I hear 2% inflation. I go, in what world are you living that it's 2%? Because it's clearly not. It's thousands of a percent. And if we just look at gold was $35 an ounce, is now $3,400. Is that 2%? Well, 2% of $35 is $7. Would be $42 for an ounce of gold. Well, clearly it's not. Well, year over year. I mean, if we look at year over year for gold, and again, we're not really wanting to use gold year over year. 33.71. All right, it's coming up nicely. So if we look at gold, 1 year, it's up 43%. What part of that's 2%? Right? If we go back 20 years, it's 600%. And even then, so it's up 29, so it's 34, so it's 1,500. No, it was 500. 529, that's 34. But let's go back to $35. Let's go back to 1972, and we will see, add a few zeros to that. It's probably at least 290,000, because there's 500. Well, 35 to 500 is a lot. So that's my point. So it's 43% in gold, but let's look at silver. and we see silver for 1 year is 20%, and for 20 years 400, but it's been suppressed, so you can't even really tell by the prices. But even if we use this is 1 year's 20%, gold's 40%. Where are you getting 2% from? What are you looking at? It isn't Coca-Cola. That we know went from 2.99 to 3.65. That's 2% of $3 is 6 cents. Well, it's gone up 60 cents. That's 200%. Where are you getting 2%? And why are you using year over year? Where do you get that from? Where do you think that's practical? You go back to 1971 when you got off of gold, and that's how much you've printed the dollar, not year over year or even 5 years over. If we look at silver, it's 100%. If we look at gold for 5 years is 93%. So where are you getting 2%? Where are you getting year over year? Who's coming up with this garbage? Because it's not right. It's just clearly bullshit. So do you want to use a chart? Okay, let's use a chart. Here's a chart of gold today. You wanna figure that out? Yeah, good luck. You can't figure it out because they're buying low and selling high. So they sell it at 33.74. It goes down to 33.51. So they're going to buy it because it's low. It doesn't matter what it is. Then it goes up to 33.77. And okay, it just went up. Now we're going to sell it. And now they're kind of in between selling and buying. How the fuck are you going to graph that and say that? Or how are you going to technically analyze that? You can't, because it's derivatives, it's options, it's buy low, sell high. It's sell high, buy low. So when it gets really high, you're going to sell it. You don't know what that is, and you know why. It's just bullshit from JP Morgan in London. So this is the problem. You cannot technically analyze this. Let's go back. Okay, we can do. Let's go back 5 years. Here's a 5 year chart. Okay, you want to analyze this? The best way you can do it. So if you go from 2020 to 2023, it didn't do anything. And then when we get to 24, the late 23s, it's brics. That's the effect of brics. So how do you analyze this? Oh, geez, I don't know. Well, the only way I can analyze it is by not using the chart. I can analyze it by saying, you know what? Brics is the one that's the demand has changed. The chart has changed. The variable has changed. It's going to keep going up because of demand, physical demand. So I'm just going to go along for the ride because I know the demand's huge and it's going to keep going up. And that's it. That's the bottom line. But you can't read it in the chart. That's ridiculous because your variables have changed. Am I still on? Okay. I'm still on. I'm still on. All right. All right. Let's see. So it's just a bunch of stuff going on with China now, Russia and the war. Zelensky's making too much money to quit. And he knows once the war ends, he'll be thrown in jail for being an idiot. I don't know, Russia, I don't know. Putin's in full control there. So we'll see. Just all this trade with China, which is China's not listening, but China's broke also. China's broke, but all this free trade stuff, really, all this trade doesn't, with the chips and not the chips. Who knows what it means? It just means we can't sell chips to China. It hurts us. It doesn't hurt China. So how real is this? I don't know. But at the end of the day, everybody's money's screwed and worthless, except for those with gold. Gold ends up being the champ. That's what you need to realize. So I hope that straightened you out on there's no such thing as deflation. There's no such thing as wage inflation. So wait, I'm making more at my job. That's inflation. So anything where the price goes up is inflation, and anything where the price goes down is deflation. It doesn't work that way. These are not economists. These are fucking idiots saying stupid things. That's got nothing to do with anything. That is not how it works. And you just go from there. That's why you gold and silver. You don't have to worry about all this shit. You can't print gold. There's no inflation or deflation with gold. Gold's gold. And buy as much as you can. And now, if you can only afford quarter ounces and tenth of an ounces, then just buy that. You want to accumulate as much as you can because it's just going. Now, a tenth of an ounce is 400. I paid maybe 150 for it a few years ago and 200. Recently 320. Now it's 400. It's just going to keep going up because of demand. That much we understand. And that's why we buy physical. Please do not buy ETFs. Please do not just buy the gold stocks. It won't go up because I know people think gold stocks will go up, but right now the market will crash and everything will crash. And then you can buy your gold stocks because, as you see, China's going after the mines to get the silver out of it. Well, how much silver is left in that mine if China's taking all the doré and making it into bars? Hey, Real D, how are you today, sir? Any questions, comments, anything you want to know, Real D? I did a football thing on Saturday or Sunday, and that's all I did was football. They call it week one of college, week one of pro, and I went through pretty thoroughly the stats and trends that I could. A lot of it you can't use. And then we're waiting on the college football, who the hell's the quarterback and the transfers. I hope you're well today, D. So keep in mind, you want to stay in gold and get out of paper. The paper's done because you can't print it. And it doesn't matter if you're the reserve currency. It doesn't fucking matter. You can't print $150 trillion and think it has a value. You can't eat 20 chocolate cakes and think you're not going to gain weight. So as they're printing the dollar to death, I really don't know any reason that anybody in the right mind would do that. People with a lot of money like Warren Buffett and Gates, they're all going to lose all their money. It's not going to be good. Treasuries are all fake because we're buying our own treasuries. That's like me doing an auction for Canadian Club and I'm the buyer. Okay, I want to sell this for $100. Nobody will buy it. I'll buy it. Well, wait, I'm buying my own Canadian Club. Well, that's what they're doing with these treasuries. There's a $37 trillion debt. You'll never get paid back. How? And certainly not in dollars. So be careful of that. Be careful of CBDCs. Get out of ETFs. Buy physical gold. Don't fuck around with ETFs. You'll never get the physical gold. It'll go to zero and you'll be fucked because it'll be in dollars. Wishes Scooble versus Skeins. Been dreaming pitching matchup. Yeah, I agree. I don't know why Pittsburgh didn't make the change. I understand Scooble in game one, but I don't. If Skeins is pitching, why wouldn't he go after him? I agree. It's really stupid. It's almost like you're saying, well, we'll lose the first game and win the second one. Well, go after him, and if you win the first game, you can win them both. Because Detroit only has one pitcher, and apparently Pittsburgh only has one too, and a lot less hitting. So you need a Skeins, and you need a 1-0 game is what you need. But I just Pittsburgh is very stupid. I agree with you, and I think, don't you think Detroit's now using? They're now stealing signs. Don't you think that? When you look at their batting average and they got guys that are minor league guys hitting 270, and you're like, how the hell can they be possibly hitting 270? And they always tend to get hits in the ninth inning because they're stealing the signs then. I mean, it's clear they're stealing signs because they're not that good of a hitting team. And he did it at Houston. I think he's doing it now. Again, you can't trust the cheater. Right? If your wife cheats on you, you got to end it. You can't believe a cheater and a liar, right? And that's exactly what you have with this Detroit manager. He should never have been hired, but he certainly should be fired now. Oh, look how good he is. Yeah, so is Harbaugh. Harbaugh was good. He was stealing signs. How did that work out? Oh, yeah, they won the national championship, and they all are going to jail for stealing the signs. Michigan so he had to run to the San Diego for a job because he couldn't continue at Michigan. So don't kid yourself that this guy is not stealing signs when he's been known to steal signs. Altuve probably still has that little trigger on him, so he knows if it's a curveball or a fastball. So it's pretty obvious when a bunch of 200 minor league hitters are now hitting 270, including Happy Baez, who is terrible. All of a sudden he's hitting, so it's all phony. But that's what we become in sports: a lot of bullshit, a lot of stealing and cheating is the way to go. And football, I don't mind because football is the stupidest sport to steal signs in because all you got to do is look at the formations. 3 tight ends. Well, I guess I think they're going to run the ball. But like I was watching the Pittsburgh Dallas Super Bowl 10 or whatever, and Mike Wagner intercepts the pass and runs it back in, and Pitt finally wins the game. And he said, well, I knew by the formation that they were going to run this play. And Staubach says it was the first time it didn't work all year. Now, he didn't steal the sign. He read the formation, and he knew what they were going to do, just like the Seattle-New England game when they didn't hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch. And they had the double receivers, and the guy goes, I know what the play's going to be. He didn't steal the sign. He could know by the formation. So football, you really don't need to steal signs. I don't know what Harbaugh was doing. But in baseball, it's huge if you know a curveball is coming versus a slider versus a fastball. So, definitely, you can't trust the thief and you can't trust the liar. And that's what you got with the Tigers manager. He's absolutely doing the same shit here. You like Ravens signing Alexander? They need help on defense. I don't think it's a bad thing, but they haven't solved their problem. Their problem is Lamar should be a slot receiver. So did their defense get better? I don't know. I don't think you can plug and play. I think it'll help them, but he's going to take a year to figure out the defense and know the coverage and know where the linebacker's at and how he's with the safety in the corners. So I don't know. It's a big help, but until they replace Lamar and play him at slot receiver, how do you cover Lamar at slot receiver as fast as he is? I don't know if he can catch. We know he can't throw, and we know he chokes in the big games. So unless Jamar Alexander can play quarterback and you can play Lamar at slot receiver, you really haven't done anything. You haven't solved the problem, which is Lamar. And everybody, he's so great. Yeah, he's so great. And he's won how many playoff games? Oh, yeah, none. Oh, he beat Houston a couple of times. Yeah. Great. How is he against Buffalo and Kansas City? Oh, yeah, 0-10. Yeah, give me a break. He's been there like 7-8 years now, and they still haven't figured out you're not going to win with him. You're not going to win anything with the guy because he's not a quarterback. So I don't know. He kind of chucks the ball, but do I love them? I'd ask, why is Green Bay letting him go? Green Bay needed defensive help, and they let him go. So I got to question that more than I question Baltimore signing him. But we'll see. Anyway, so that's really what you have. So again, remember, there's physical dollars and physical gold and paper gold. So what we see now is the paper gold, and you cannot chart it because it's based on derivatives. It's based on options. It is not based on reality of the market. And so when JP Morgan needs to sell, he sells. When he needs to buy, he buys. And you can't predict that. So when guys start doing charts on you, just roll your eyes, hit a negative, and write in the comments, the professor says you're full of shit. And that's it. As they are. I mean, these guys are just idiots because I did a technical analysis on football for years, and then as they start changing coaches and they start changing quarterbacks, you start realizing you can't use it. I don't care that somebody was 10-2 as a home dog for 5 years, and now there's a new coach and a new quarterback. It goes out the window. Oh, wait, they start covering. Why? See, I started to notice that when the teams would change, all of a sudden the bad team was getting better. Mostly like the Lions, they were terrible. They were bet against road dogs for years. And then they bring in this new coach, they bring in golf, and all of a sudden they're not bad as a road dog. All of a sudden their numbers are changing. Why? Because they brought in a new coach and a new quarterback. And that's when I go, aha, I can use it. Like I said, if you watch my video, Kansas City, Mahomes and Reed, yep. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, yep. Philly, I got to be careful with because now I got Barkley, not the quarterback change. The Rams, I got McVay and Stafford, and even Frisco. I now have Purdy and Shanahan for a few years, but I didn't have. Now then it notes I didn't have McCaffrey last year, so I almost can't use last year's because I didn't have McCaffrey, not the quarterback. And now I got them back. So I look for them to cover. Seattle's changed everything, the coach and the quarterback. I can't look at them, although I do know they've gotten far worse. Coach Pete goes to Oakland. I can't use Oakland's trends, but I know with Coach Pete and Geno Smith and Gentry and Brock Bowers, they're a hell of a lot better than they were the last few years. So I know I'm going to get much better coaching. So that's really the key point is you got to be smart and look. And when you get a guy like the Jets, you just assume they're going to lose every game. Carolina probably lose. Maybe they'll win 1 or 2 games. Tennessee, maybe they win 2 games. Indy, Jacksonville. Jacksonville's terrible. Indy's terrible. Tennessee's terrible. The whole division's terrible. So you just try to understand the team. So I've changed to looking at the offenses and defense. But that's what these guys need to do in gold. They can't just look at the charts blindly without understanding the new variables, which is brics, which is COMEX being broken down where they're now have to cover. So they do a short, they then have to pay for the delivery of the gold. And so you have to understand that. The variables change. You can't just blindly look at a chart without looking at the variables. And if you don't look at the variables, you're totally fucked. Whatever information you think you're pulling is not accurate. So don't look at anybody that charts anything. That's just stupid. And anyways, so I said let's look at baseball again today. We've got Cincinnati, Colorado, the Yanks under 10, 2 units. Detroit under 7 with Skubal, 2 units. St. Louis, Cubs under 8.5, 2 units. KC under 8.5. Toronto over 8.5. The 49ers under 7.5. Scanes in game 2 under 7, 2 units. The White Sox under 9 in game 2. Philly, 2 units. The Mets, Tampa Bay, 2 units. Houston over 10.5. And the Dodgers under 9. 2 good pitchers, or at least we think they are. So that's baseball again. Basketball, we love Indiana getting 6.5. With or without Halliburton. He didn't play in the second half. They only lost by 11. And now they're at home. And OKC had to win. Right? It's amazing how these analysts you hear on the radio are so stupid. Oh, OKC, now they look good. Well, yeah, they're at home in a must-win game. So, of course, they look good. Now they're at Indy, and Indy's at home in a must-win game. They're going to look much better because the role players play much better at home than they do on the road. Simple as that. So I think I got everything. Let's look at gold and silver one last time. Silver's moving back up to 36.39. And gold's starting to move back 33.7. It'll be back to 3,400. This is just money making. This is just I'm selling my option at 33.74. Goes down to 33.51. I'll buy it, but I've already sold it. So I made $20. And at 33.51, everybody's buying it until it hits 33.77. Then they start selling it, but it doesn't go down enough, and now they're buying it again. And that's all it is. Silver 36.39. So it's a joke. It's just bullshit. Doesn't it's just paper. It's us options. We are talking physical gold that you actually have. I don't have mine out. You actually have it, and it's you should buy as much of it as you can. Get out of the dollar. This has no value. It's dropping, dropping, dropping. And to say inflation is 3%, only an idiot would say that. Boog Paul. Because in their definition, it's year over year prices. That's not the definition. It's money supply. It's the money being inflated is inflation, money printing, and the value of the dollar dropping. And I guarantee you it's dropped more than 2%. Because you've got the deficit, you've got the military, Social Security and Medicare, and all the government employees that you now have to print money to pay them. Where are you getting that money from? Thin air. You got a lot of people retiring or trying to retire who are all going to get fucked because they're in 401ks, and soon the dollar will be worthless, and so will their 401k. That's why I suggest you buy gold, because the gold will keep its value. The 401k will go from 500 grand to zero because the stock market's about to collapse, because 17 trillion of the stock market is foreign held. And they're going to, as they see the dollar going out with the $37 trillion, they're going to pull their money back to Germany and Italy and Canada and China and Japan, and they're going to buy gold or whatever with their money. Nobody's buying the treasuries because they're not worth anything. If somebody was broke and he was 37 trillion in debt, would you loan the guy money and expect to get paid back? Well, that's what a treasury is. A treasury is I'm loaning you 10 grand and you're going to pay me back 10 grand plus the interest. And nobody's doing it. I trust the government's going to pay me back. Are you kidding? So they can't get buyers for their treasuries, but they still got to pay their federal employees, because the government doesn't create revenue, only cost. And that's the bottom line. So just be careful with that. You've got to understand that. Just be careful. And it'll end okay if you're in gold and silver. You'll be fine. You'll be very fine, because everything will get repriced in gold and silver. There's no barter going on. In other words, so people are buying junk silver thinking there's going to be barter. Well, what are you going to barter? I'll give you silver. Then just give them the ounce of silver, because nothing's going to be priced in silver. So what are they going to take? Well, I'll take a Kennedy $50 for tuna fish. Well, they're not going to sell it to you, because the dollar is not going to be valued. The tuna is not going to be valued in silver. So you can't really trade it. You can trade it amongst your friends. So if somebody has 20 cans of tuna, you can probably give them, a mercury dime for the can of tuna. You might, but not at a store or a restaurant. You're not going to be able to trade it. Only with a friend, right? Somebody needs that. You can't go to a gas station and here's an ounce of silver for gas. That's not going to happen. When I go to Toyota and get my oil changed, I says, well, you take gold for the car. He says, well, you'd have to get cash for it. And then we take it. And I look at him funny, like, why wouldn't you take gold? Gold's better than cash. But he won't take it. He said, I won't take Bitcoin. I won't take gold. You'll have to cash it and give me the cash for the car. And you're like, oh, okay. He tried to talk me into buying a hybrid. And I said, I'll never buy a electric car. It's got to be gas, and I have no reason of selling my car right now. So I'm happy with my car. I like the older Camry than this one, but right now I'm have no thought of buying an electric car. That'll never happen because the battery will die, just like my phone and my laptop. A little bit of use, and all of a sudden I'm down a lot on my batteries. All right, I guess that's class. So again, deflation's bullshit. Trying to look at a chart is bullshit because of the different variables. The chart only works if the variables never change, and good luck finding something where the variables never change. Not going to happen. The dollars we know are worthless. This is worth nothing, and this is worth a penny, not even a penny. So the dollars are worthless. Your stocks are worthless. Things in dollars like your house and your Bitcoin are worthless. Even though you see 100,000, it's worthless. Only gold can't be printed or inflated, and that's why it holds the value. And it's as simple as that. So just be careful. Oh, I got $1 million in my IRA, in my ETF, or in my my 401k. My advice is sell 500,000. Well, I can't, Howard. I'm at the job and they won't let me sell it. Then get out of it. Stop it. You don't want any more, and then take the money and buy gold and silver. But try to get out of the 401k. I don't get where the company says you can't get out of it. Well, fuck you. I'm taking it. What do I don't care if I can get out. So you were all trapped into it, and that's why the stock market's so high. People don't understand why the stock market's high because you keep pushing your 401k into the stocks because it's mutual funds. You're not going to buy bonds. You can't buy gold in your 401k. So it's just I haven't taken a 401k in years. When I'm working, it's just give me the money and I'm buying gold with it. Thank you very much. All right, I think that's it. www.teaserking.com. I have a nice day, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Take care, everybody.